Here's a look at some of the new things that we are really monitoring with this storm system. Not only will it have that snow potential, but it also brings in the potential for that severe risk. Once again, severe storms are going to be likely, especially across parts of the southeast, and then the southern plains are going to be dealing with that snow potential. As we take a look, here's a look at some of the areas that are going to be dealing with that severe storm threat. In the red, very likely the same areas that are dealing with some of the severe storm threats for today will again endure another day of some severe weather as we head into Friday. That does include parts of the southeast and the panhandle of Florida. Taking a look at that future track, the northern half of the system will feature that snow from Detroit all the way down towards Tulsa. And then we have that rain moving through for parts of the southeast. That will continue from Friday morning into the afternoon and into Saturday morning as well. We see that Saturday at 1 a.m. Snow out towards Buffalo, all the way down towards Little Rock, and then switching over to that rain and that severe threat down towards Jackson. That will again start to extend up towards the northeast, now featuring in parts of the northeast and the mid-Atlantic with that rain. Taking a look at the snow forecast, the heaviest of the snow will fall right along the areas in the pink. We do have lighter, moderate snow out towards the west, but as we get a little bit closer, Syracuse is going to be one of the areas that sees the heaviest of the snow.
I'm Amy Freeze. Welcome to Fox Weather's YouTube page. We have more great videos on the way, so make sure to subscribe to stay updated on all things weather.